Okay. Now let us take as an example, I'm taking employee ID alone as of now. So if you understand how to validate one single field, it's equal that you understand all other fields. So you need to define a variable employee ID equal to, and then you need to write this dot get view dot by ID, and then give the UI element ID, that is input field ID, and then dot get value. So this statement I already explained, guys. Word by word I explained in the topic called dynamically changing UI element properties. Okay. So once again, I'm just explaining this line. This means current file. So current file is view1 controller. Dot get view. Get view means get the view of this controller. So who is the controller of this view? View1. Okay. So from this view1, it is saying by ID means point to the UI element which is having this ID. So this is the UI element which is having the ID EMP ID. Okay. So in simple words, this dot get view by ID points to the input field, this particular input field. By pointing to this input field, we are using a getter function, and that is get value. So the get value getter function gives the value that you entered in this input field. Now I got the employee ID that you entered in that input field. Now what we need to do is, using a simple if condition, we will check whether the employee ID is filled or not. If employee ID is empty, if employee ID is empty, okay. Now inside this particular employee ID, if employee ID is empty, now it indicates that one of the mandatory field is not filled. One of the mandatory field is not filled. So we can throw the error, right? We can throw the error. Okay, so how to throw the error? For throwing the errors, SAP UI5 has provided a message box library. So now we are going to add the libraries, guys. The way we are adding the libraries in the view, like we have added sap.ui.layout library, we added sap.ui.layout.form library, sap.ui.core library we have added. So similarly, in the controller also we will add the libraries of the UI elements which we use. Okay, so we are going to add our message box library. The message box library is used to display the success, error and warning messages. Okay, so sap/yum/message box. Now this is the library name, and we know that the last word of the library will be given as a shortcut name inside the line number 6 function. So here the first library is SAP UI Core MVC controller. In this entire library, the last word of the library is controller, which is already added here. Okay, so similarly add the message box library as well. Now I am going to copy the message box dot error. The message box library has 3 functions: message box dot error to show the error message, message box dot warning to show the warning message, message box dot success to show the success message, message box dot information to show the information message. Okay, so now let me give the message like all fields are mandatory, please fill it. Okay, let's save it and let's test whether it is working or not. So I'm clicking the submit button and you can see this is called the error message box. The error message box gets a red color line automatically with a into mark at the top, that is also red color, with a title as error, and this is the error message that we have given. All fields are mandatory, please fill it. Okay. Now let's complete the validation for all of them. So this is employee ID. This is name. Name. And then the designation. So this dot get view by ID designation dot get value. Employee ID, name, designation, and then skill. ID skill dot get value. All right. So similarly, you need to repeat the if condition for each and every field that you are validating. So this is name, this is designation, and this is skill. I did nothing. So basically, I'm comparing. So if employee ID is empty, then you are saying all fields are mandatory, please fill it. So if name is empty, so there also you are calling the same. And designation is empty, there also you are basically calling the same. Skill is empty, so all fields are mandatory, please fill it. Okay. Right, now let us test whether it is working or not. So I'm clicking the submit button. So that is error or sorry,
if
this is not skill. This is email ID. Right?
If
this is ID email. So let me see. Yeah, this is ID email dot get value. So we need to compare with this email. All right. Right. So I click on the submit button. So you can see all fields are mandatory. Not all fields are mandatory. So please fill all the mandatory fields is the message that we need to give, right? Please fill all mandatory fields. Please fill all mandatory fields. Okay, so this is the message. Yeah. Now let's see. So this is only an initial version of the code. So we are going to fine tune this and ultimately we will convert that into a real-time standard. Yep. Now how many fields are there here? 4 fields are mandatory, and we checked like if employee ID is empty, then we display the message like please fill all mandatory fields. But the problem if you write your code like this is this particular message box will shown 4 times if all the 4 are empty. So let me click on submit button and show. So I clicked on submit button. Now you can see our first message box, please fill all mandatory fields because employee ID is empty. Now I am clicking the close, but again one more message box will come. See, I closed it. Now another has come. This is the second message box because name is also empty. Again I closed it. Now third message box has come. This is the third one, designation. So similarly when I close it, fourth will come and then all of them will be gone. So showing the message box these many times is not correct. Okay. So for that, what we do is we little bit fine tune this logic, and that is by using I will declare a variable called is all filled, okay, equal to true, for example. So this is in ABAP language we call that as a flag, okay. So those who are non-ABAPites, so you can ignore that terminology. So it's just a terminology, but actually the main thing we need to concentrate is logic. So I declared a variable. These kind of variables normally called as flags, which which are normally used to decide some situation. So this variable is all filled. I assign the initial value as true. Okay. Now what I will do, I will just make it false. So I will remove all the message boxes here. I removed it, removed it, removed it, removed it. So wherever the employee ID is empty, so in all those places, I will just fill is filled equal to false. Is this filled? No. So I mark this particular is filled as false. This is your own logic. You can write the way you want to write the logic. You can write. I'm just showing you all possible ways of writing the code in a real time. Okay. So what we do is we take this variable like is filled equal to true, and then we mark the is filled as false in all those places wherever the mandatory field is not filled. Now after entire thing is completed, I will write only one more if condition, and that is if this is filled is equals to false. Okay, so is all filled is equal to false. That means the end user has not entered some of the mandatory fields. Okay, then only it becomes false, right? So let's assume end user has filled all of them. If the end user has filled all of them, definitely the is filled will be true only. It won't become false. If it becomes false only when end user has not filled any one of them. So let's say the end user did not fill name, automatically is filled becomes false. So the logic that we applied is we declared a variable with the initial value as true, and we are making it false wherever the end user is not filling the mandatory field. Okay. And at the end, we are checking that variable value. So if the variable value is false, that means end user has missed some of the mandatory fields, right? So here I will show you the message box dot error saying that, so please fill all mandatory fields. Please fill all mandatory fields. Okay. Right. So this is one way of showing the errors. So here I am clicking the submit button. So you will get only one time. You will not get multiple times. Only one time. So for example, I filled it. Still you will get it. I filled it. Still you will get it. And email ID. So let me fill this also. Click submit. Still you are getting it because designation is not filled. Now if I click submit, you will not get any message box. Okay. So like this, the clients ask you to do the validation using the message box. Now some clients want whatever the field that is not filled, that field should be marked in red color and the error message should appear there itself instead of the message box. They don't want message box. They want the other way around. So whatever the field is not filled, that field should turn into red color and the error message should appear when you go to that field. So how to do this? In this particular case, so what we do, we don't use this one. Okay. maybe I will comment this particular entire logics and write a clean separate logic. Yeah. So here we'll check with the if condition if this field is empty or not. Is employee ID empty? So if the employee ID is empty, then we need to turn that input field into red color. Okay, only that particular field we need to turn into red color. So how to turn a field into red color? By pointing to that particular field by using this dot get view by ID. So we know that this dot get view by ID points to the input field, right? So it is pointing to this input field because it is having the same ID, EMP ID. So this dot get view by ID pointing to the input field dot. There is a function called set value state. Set value state is a function to turn this into a red color by giving set value state error. So the meaning of set value state error is set the value state of the input field as error, means turn the input field into red color. So turning the input field into red color is nothing but setting the value state error to that input field. Okay. Now let's click on the submit button. So now this is what happens if you turn the input field into red color. So end user's eyes will definitely catch this red color and he will go to this particular red color. He understand, okay, this is mandatory field. I did not fill it. So it is turning up into red color. Okay. In addition to this red color, you can also show the message saying that please fill employee ID. So that also you can do it. So for that, you need to repeat this particular statement and you need to write set value state text. Okay, the function name is set value state text. So value state text means the text that you want to appear when it turns into red color. You already converted that into red color, that is fine. But along with the red color, if you want some message also to be populated over there, then we use this message, this function, set value state text. Okay, so let's write please fill employee ID. Please fill employee ID. Now let us see how it looks. Now let me click the submit button, and if I go to this field, the moment I keep my mouse on the field, it is saying please fill employee ID. So this is the second type of validation that we have in SAP UI5. Okay, so some clients will ask like this, and some clients they don't want field by field, they just want a generic one single message. So like that also you can do any of them, you can use in the real time. Now you just need to repeat this if condition for all the 4 fields. This is employee ID. Now repeat this for name, repeat this for designation, repeat this for email, employee ID, name, designation, and then email. Now copy this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 only, right? So I don't need this. And you also need to change these IDs. This is ID name. This is ID designation. And this is ID email. And you also need to change the message. This is employee name. This is designation. And this is email. Save it and refresh. So now let's click on the submit button. Now you can see all the mandatory fields has been highlighted with the red color. So employee ID, you will get a message like please fill employee ID. So here I'm in employee name and the message has changed. Please fill employee name. This is employee designation. So there is no, that's not mandatory field, employee skill. Now I'm moving to employee email. Yeah, please fill employee name. Okay. So like this, the message will come when you go to that field. The moment you go to that field, then the respective message will appear. All right. Now the next thing we need to look up is if the end user fill the value. So let's say I fill the value, employee ID something, employee name is one, employee designation senior tech lead, okay, and skill email ID as riz@gmail.com. Now since I fill all of them, if I click the submit button, all these errors should be gone because I fill all of them and I'm clicking on the submit button. So all these errors should be gone, but the errors are still appearing. So how to remove these errors? So we need to remove these errors also, correct? So what we do is, to remove the errors, we can write a else condition. Else means if the employee ID is not empty. Now, if the employee ID is empty, we are setting the red color. So when it is not empty means end user has filled it, then we need to write a else condition by reversing the statement. So once again I am explaining guys, if employee ID is empty, so what we are doing, we are applying the color. Else means employee ID is no more empty. It is filled by the end user. So when the employee ID is already filled, now you don't need that color. You need to reverse, you need to remove that color. So how to remove it? You need to write this dot get view by ID, same input field, dot set value state. You need to write none. None means no color. Remove that color. That is the meaning. Okay. Now let us test it.